All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into a really unusual document called The Decoding of Zion. Honestly, it's a wild ride, part legal thriller, part spiritual guide. It follows the journey of a character called the Managing Director and asks us to take a hard look at who we think we are.
Right off the bat, the document hits you with this powerful line. The core idea here is that your official identity, the name on your driver's license, isn't actually you. The text argues it's not a mirror reflecting who you are, but a leash designed to keep you in a system.
So, what is this trap exactly? Well, the entire premise of this document, everything it's built on, comes down to one massive distinction: the difference between you, the living, breathing human being, and something else it calls a legal person. Okay, so check this out. The theory is that when you see your name printed in all capital letters, say on a tax bill or a court summons, that's not really you. It's referring to a totally separate legal entity, a kind of corporate ghost or double that the government created at your birth. And here's the kicker. According to this text, the state owns it.
And that leads us straight to this next concept the document calls wardship. The logic goes like this. Since most of us have no idea this legal person even exists, we never step up to claim it. So the state just presumes it's abandoned property and steps in to act as its guardian. The text frames this whole thing as a form of modern-day enslavement through legal paperwork and presumption.
So the story kicks off with something we can all relate to, getting an official-looking letter in the mail, probably a bill. But in this world, that letter isn't just paper and ink. It's described as a digital parasite, a probe sent by the system to try and trick you into agreeing that you are that all-caps name, and in doing so, locking you into that wordship.
Okay, so if that's the trap, how do you get out of it? The document offers a very specific, almost code-like response. Instead of arguing or ignoring it, you're supposed to reply with this exact phrase. The thinking is that this lets you deal with the paperwork without legally agreeing that you are the ghost entity it's addressed to. This is what the text calls staying in honor. Now, you might be wondering, where does all this even begin? Well, the story flashes all the way back to the day you were born. It argues that your birth certificate isn't just a happy record, it's reframed as a bill of lading, like a shipping document. The claim is that this certificate is then used to create a bond, a tradable security on the stock market, based on the estimated value of your future labor. So if this whole system of control is real, according to the document, how does it actually pop up in our day-to-day lives? Well, the text says it's all around us, in what it calls soft enclosures. And believe it or not, the first example we get is a tavern, a bar. The text presents it as a perfect example of one of these enclosures. It's described as a jurisdictional boundary, a place specifically designed to get you to let your guard down, to willingly step across a line into a legal space where the rules are different, and you're not sovereign anymore.
The source claims the wordplay here is totally intentional. Why do we call alcohol spirits? It's seen as a clue. The document describes alcohol as a kind of solvent, designed to dissolve your will and extract what it calls your charge or your life force. So when you're under the influence, you've literally, willingly made yourself legally incompetent, a word of the state.
So from this perspective, the point isn't to become a hermit and lock yourself away from the world. Not at all. The real mission is to learn how to walk through these environments without losing your sovereignty, without letting that charge get drained. The goal is to walk out with your personal energy and your will 100% intact. Okay, so we've seen the traps. What about the counter moves? If there are all these snares, there have to be ways to defend yourself, right? Well, the document says yes, absolutely, and it lays out some very specific protocols to do just that. One of the biggest tools in the toolbox is your own signature. The source makes a really sharp distinction here. Signing your name in all caps is, in their view, you agreeing to be the ward. But signing with your proper given name, followed by authorized representative, supposedly sends a clear signal. You are the living man or woman acting for the legal entity, but you are not it. The text even offers a full-blown protocol for new parents, a way to supposedly stop this system from ever getting its hooks in from day one. It advises them to avoid registering their child, which it frames as handing over the title. Instead, they should create their own private record, and if they're forced to sign state forms, they should add specific legal language to show they aren't consenting. All right, so we've gone from playing defense to building a fortress.
This next phase of the journey is all about constructing what the document calls the embassy. So how on earth do you turn your home into a private embassy? This secret, according to this text, is a legal tool called a private trust. The strategy is to move the title of your property out of the name of that all-caps legal person and into this trust. By doing that, you've supposedly created your own private jurisdiction, a place where state agents, like the taxman, have no authority to enter.
And it's really important to get this. This isn't just presented as some clever legal trick. It's framed as a deeply spiritual act. It's about sanctifying your property, declaring it sovereign ground, completely off-limits to what the text calls the commercial system, or the merchants of Hermes.
And all of this has been leading to the grand finale of the story, a massive, climactic event that ties everything together. It's something the source calls the Jubilee Reset. The entire journey of the managing director, all the decoding, it all builds to this one final confrontation. And it's not a physical fight. It's a showdown in the digital and legal world, the final decoding of the system itself. This is it, the ultimate power move presented in the text, the Jubilee Protocol. Think of it like a hidden failsafe built into the entire system. It's a movie that doesn't just pay a debt, it discharges it, which means the obligation is wiped clean, gone, forever. This is the moment where the living soul finally stands up, reclaims all their energy, and cancels the state's guardianship once and for all. And this right here, this is the declaration that, in the story, brings the whole house of cards down. By speaking these words with total authority, the managing director supposedly reclaims their stolen life force, dissolves the legal ghost, and collapses the entire structure of debt that was built on top of it. And that, right there, is the final takeaway from this incredible document. It proposes that the modern battlefield isn't one of swords and shields, but of paper, contracts, and legal status. Now, whether you see this as a practical guide to freedom or just a fascinating piece of fiction, it definitely leaves you asking one big question. What exactly is in a name?